Okay. Hi, guys. I'm here. I just realized I was muted. I'm sitting here talking. I was like, wait a minute. And then, welcome to Sunday Evening with Roxanne. I am your host, Roxanne, here at Odyssey of Ascension. I appreciate you all tuning in and to our weekly get together where I talk about reality and my experiences and offer some of my insight about reality to you and your journey here as a human. So let's get started. I wanted to talk a little bit. There's kind of a theme that I've put together, and this is seemed the next logical step. We talked about giving away your power. We've talked about a whole lot of stuff. So I just like you to look at the past couple and kind of follow them along. And we're going to start with the healer within. Okay, and I just want you to feel that. Humanity has an insatiable dependency on externalism. And of course they would. And the reason why they would, is we're born separated. Okay? As a reminder, what is separation? Your whole being, in all of your incarnations, you focus in on a vibrational reality, co-created field of frequency. And you tune into that reality and you experience co-creation, all telepathically. But we also project in those incarnations and we create worlds. And we are projecting ourselves into a physical reality. The difference with this incarnation and all others is we forgot. That's all we're doing here is remembering what we are by nature, what we are by our natural birthing idea of ourselves is a creator, an eternal being. So that's what we're doing here as far as separation, as the experience would always lead the human initially to externalism. You coveted your parents, authority, teachers, and you were a sponge taking in. Hello, Roxy. Hi, Kim. How are you, darling? Happy Sunday night. So you start out and you're coveting all these ideas and they're telling you stories and your mind is a sponge. So you're listening to all stories and you create a personality. Everyone has seen personalities every single day of their lives. Everyone is different. They behave different, their cultural differences, their belief systems, their religions, it's all a difference. Yay! Way to go, son. Sun flame, beeswax candles. Awesome. Much love and light. Thank you. Hello, Corinne. How you doing, darling? Hello, Kevin. So we understand what separation is, and I want to talk about the healing within. Society has turned medicine into an absolute. We've gotten to the point that where medicine is an absolute addiction. It is a dependency. Medicine works. We've done great things with medicine. The Far East or the Orient or Asia, whatever you want to call it, whatever the fuck is politically correct. I don't give a shit. They had wonderful ideas, 3,000 years old, and the idea of acupuncture is still absolutely accurate, and it works. And different herbs around the world. We survived as a species off of the land, and medicine men and spiritual healers and gurus and ideas about that. But as society becomes more and more global, connected, societal, civilized society, and we've turned out to this dependency. So we've all discounted what we are by nature. We've all discounted the healer within. Don't do this to yourself. Okay? You, as a nature, are whole. You're not in pain. You're not suffering. You're not lacking. You're not desiring. You're not wanting. You're creating. That's what we do by nature. So your human relationship looks at yourself and puts your own suffering on through interpretation, through truths. Yes, we have great pain. We can fall and break an arm. We can get in an automobile accident. We can get diseases, and we have doctors for those things. But what about your day-to-day life? How are you treating yourself? How are you treating your body? What are you feeding yourself every day? And look at the way your body is. Okay? So you gotta understand that there's no healing until the awakening healer inside, or the healer inside awakens, is a better way to say it. Even when you go to the doctor, if you don't like the doctor, you're putting resistance against the doctor. If you trust the doctor, then you're going to heal because you've given yourself permission to heal. The doctor doesn't heal you. The experience brings you back to a alignment that you accept in whatever fashion it is, whether it's going under the knife, whether it's taking some aspirin or some antibiotics, whatever, or doing an ayahuasca ceremony, or getting a healing from a good witch. So how about this? Okay. First thing you want to do is heal with truth. That's where it starts. How much are you bullshitting yourself as a cause and effect about your pain? Who are you giving your pain to as a cause? You have to be honest and look at your own pain, and as that acceptance, that's when the healing can start. You have to face your own truth about your own illnesses. How many of you out there that are listening to this have taken on the label, I'm autistic, when you were never autistic until it became a fashion? How many of you have taken on ADHD when it was never introduced and now it is? How many people do we have on diabetes now? In the 70s compared to now, 50 years, 40 years. Look how many things are wrong with you. Look what the TV does. What are you feeding yourself? If you've accepted an illness that has a way to maintain it through controlling it, through addiction of some kind of healing that is externalized, then you need to look at that. Because then the healer doesn't get a chance to heal unless you're honest with yourself and look what you're structuring. Look how many escapes you have in your life from your pain. If you are honest, then you're going to find a whole lot of escapes. I live in San Antonio, Texas. This is one of the fattest cities in the world. It is an absolute epidemic how many obese people are in this world. And I used to make fun of them. I used to go, what the hell? Stop eating. Now I have compassion for them because I understand that their pain is a causality. They find comfort, they find identity in stuffing themselves until they throw up, which apparently they're not, because they're just gaining all the weight in the world. It's easier to go and eat trashy food in this world, isn't it? Because they make it cheap, they make it fast, and they put enough absolute crap in it to make it taste good. And it's easy to eat that food because it tastes good. And it's this form of escape. You deserve this. Hey, I eat Freddy's hamburgers. I don't eat the French fries because the French fries are fried. I won't do that to my body. I don't need that in my life because I know what it does to me. I've lived with it and I've lived without it. I've lived with caffeine and I've lived without it. See, I understand because I'm an observer of my own temple, my own body. So I allow the healer to activate by awareness and change my diet. Now, that's the physical part of it. But what about this? What about what are you feeding your mind? Your mind is a garden. Look what you're planting in it. How much anxiety do you have a day? How much suffering or pain do you have a day for relationships? What are you watering in your mind? What are your thoughts every day? Look at your thoughts every day. Look how your thoughts come in. If you understand your thoughts as anything but unconditional, then guess who's watering those thoughts? That's not a responsibility. It's an ability to respond. It's an ability. Hey, Smitty, how you doing, darling? That's so true. I taught myself many can't heal ourselves. That's right. So let's think about that for a second. Okay, when you face your healing, that's a chance of liberation. When you do things to yourself, that's a chance to free yourself. You have to look at what you are creating within. Nobody is doing it to you. That's an excuse. That's an escape. That's a cause and effect. That's assignment to another as blame. That is a coward. That's not willing to face their own God. And that's this God here. Because they're afraid of their own power. They're afraid of their own beauty. They can't be that awesome because they don't deserve it. Why? Because they're less than. Because the planet told them you have to earn your way. You're not good enough because you're not smart enough. You don't have the right skin color. You don't have the right family roots. You don't. And then we buy into that. And that's what we're gardening. That's what we're cultivating. That's what we're harvesting. Okay? All of you are better than that because you're all gods. You're unconditional creators. Here is the I am. Up here is the I am not. Okay? I am not this. I am not that. You claim it. When I'm saying I am not God. And when you're not God, you play the not God game. That's what you cultivate. That's what you seed within your consciousness. Can you imagine the anxiety that you hold inside? What that does to your muscles? What that does? Are you tired? Are you fatigued? Are you exhausted because you're holding up life every day? Check off lists. As soon as the check off, then I'll live. Then I'll be happy. As soon as I'm done being responsible, and as soon as I'm done with my obligations, then, and then you're dead. You wake up 70, 80 years later, and you're pushing up daisies because you never realized that the healer lies within every day. And it's done through mindfulness, as the Buddhists put. Awareness, as I put. Awareness of yourself. That's done through observation, acceptance, and surrender. I'm teaching these things for years. It works. Don't look for something not to work. Take in what is attracted to your world. If you're watching this, you're interested in this material. This is a reflection created by you in a version of yourself called me. Look at reality as a uni. Don't look at it as separation. So you always got to wonder, what am I watering today? What are my thoughts in first thing in the morning? Am I anxiety in the morning? And then your muscle starts to twinge and it starts to grow heavy and your breath is heavier and you don't get as much in your body. And you're wondering why you look 70 when you're 30 or 40 years old. You're carrying all your weight. You're carrying the responsibilities of the world because you're some kind of hero to be this. You know, it became a sad day when multitasking became an ability for humans. Because then we're just missing life because we think that's an ability that should be praised. Instead of focusing on our life, we skim through life through multitasking. We don't actually create any longer. So always look at that, masters. The one thing this is me personally, I had a guilt complex because I have a memory, and my memory is very, very good at bringing up what I fucked up in my life. I never did anything bad. I was too afraid to. I would always get in trouble. And my parents scared the shit out of me, and they spanked us and they abused us, me more than my brother, because my brother was cool and I wasn't. I was a girl. So I didn't fit the mold. So there was a mental abuse there. And so you bring that down. So the past My memory gives me the past of my failures. And then I accept them and it burns again all over again. And then I grow heavy. And then I grow depressed. And I grow angry. And then I get motivation to be better and try again. And then I fail again. And then another cycle happens because of my memory. My memory doesn't bring up those thoughts anymore because I changed the way I think by gardening, watering, cultivating, and harvesting the good thoughts. My good thoughts, what I love, not positive. I don't want to be positive or negative. I want to be authentic. Corinne writes, I have learned to slow down with everything I do over the last year. I have realized that being in a hurry to do everything just takes too much energy, way too much energy. Way too much energy. Absolutely. Good work. So I wanted to realize that the past is I bring it. How many people that have you had in your life that bring up shit that you've done, including your parents? Be brutally honest here. Including someone that you love. There was a thing in the car business, right? You have one fuck up. And you would have to do 5 attaboys. Attaboy? Yeah, good job. Yeah. 5 of them to make for one oh shit. It's because humanity loves pain. Don't they? You've seen the internet? You see what people do to each other every day? This isn't just in America. I'm not just looking at America. I'm looking at the entire world. This place is a mess. Why? Because no one's cultivating the right thoughts. They're accepting the truths of the past, of what they coveted as reality in the now. Can you imagine the pain you could living right now and there is nothing happening to you right now, but you bring in that thought as valid? You go down the rabbit hole or into that thought process and it takes you and whisks you away and you're thinking and trying to figure it out and you're creating a whole reality of vibrational pain and you're sitting there on your couch. And there's no one around to give you pain except you. You know? That's what you got to be. That's what awareness is about. That's what observation is about. Very good, Jeanette. Right, guys? So do yourself a favor. Stop blaming. Because you're only doing it to yourself, but you must be humble enough and masterful enough to observe it and start to heal from within. My physical body has followed the ailments and different things I've had. I've had issues, absolutely. And I carried weight and I was putting toxins in my body. That's not wrong. I'm not mad I did that. I'm just done with it. That was part of my human experience. But it doesn't hurt me because I'm a creator of all things. I'm indestructible forever. Awareness. Creator of thoughts. This is just an experience. It's a sandbox we play in until we get called home. That's all. Relax. So don't look at the past any longer. And every now is an eternal do-over. You start now. So you look at what you're feeding your body and you look at what you're feeding your mind. And I'm not talking about going vegan or anything structured. That's just another structure because it has a cause and effect behind it. It has a reason. Debbie. Thank you, Debbie, for the $25 super chat. Yay. Thank you, darling. So we don't want to look at cause and effect in the idea of externalism. That's not masterful. That's a child blaming, not wanting to get in trouble, want an excuse for its own pain. Your awareness shows you What is your awareness? It's your guardian. It's the one that brings you out of the storm that's out here and back into your isness, your silence, your sanctuary, right? Can you imagine someone screaming and hollering and you're just not saying a word? Do you have that ability? And everything they say to you is cutting you and it's hurting. But you don't react because your emotions take you down realities you don't want to go. Don't your emotions grab you? And they're like tempests. They're like tornadoes. You react and whoop, you're going off on this like this. I get so mad because someone cut me off and they were a stupid driver or stuff like that. And I get angry because then I looked and I was like, why do I think this absolute stranger is offending me? Why am I offended by his driving habits? He's the one not paying attention. He's the one that's putting his own self at his risk of life. He is driving. Why is it a cause for my pain? So I'm taking that offering and I'm bringing it into my kingdom and I'm planting it in my mind. And it is suffering. It is painful. It is anger. And I'm feeding it. Why am I doing that to myself? Because I'm human, right? Because I'm separated. I know why I'm doing it now. Now, but can I change it? Do I have enough courage and trust in the change, which means unknown? Enough to choose an unknown reality instead of going back to what I'm comfortable being. Although it's painful, it's an identity and I'm solid in it. And it gives me a worth that I can be mad and angry and blame and just live this life of blah, 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 blah. And then right back to my own suffering. Because I always end up with me. And that's it. And nothing I say or do is going to do anything to them. So I let them move into my fucking kingdom and shit all over my porch and then leave. Okay? So your awareness is your guardian. What are you letting your senses do to your tastes, your sound, your sight, your feeling, your touch? Kind of forgot there. Was it send you in this direction? Or are you awareness enough, observant enough, and not reactive to learn that skill? What do you have to do? Hang on, let's see. Time is created by my observation and the belief in it. There's no need to rush life. I'm working on being in the now and working in my progress. Absolutely. Time is created in the moment. Just because I say it's 7:23 p.m. Central Time doesn't mean that's in your reality until you validate it in the moment, and then you create that truth. Ha! Chew on that one. That one's a good. When you know time is created in the moment, along with the memory is created in the moment, the memory isn't permanent. The memory fits the vibrational relationship you hold with your mirror. Ha! How you can create new pasts, master. Oh, trust. Okay. So I got better at awareness through silence. Not the absence of sound is what they say. Silence is allowance, sitting still. You hear, but you're not trying to quiet things. You're just quieting your mind. Your mind is allowed to wander, and it will initially. It'll take you, and you'll get grabbed up in it. You'll think of something that's important, and then you're not sitting in silence. You're now thinking noise. Right? And you're doing those noisy ideas. You're not in the now, relaxing and being silent and observing your thoughts. Right? So clouds are white and puffy, and clouds are storms. If you follow the storms, you're going to get rained on. If you follow the white puffy clouds, you're going to get nice, wonderful days. But you notice your awareness is always there, no matter what travels through your mind. So think of your mind as this big open sky, right? and the thoughts pass through them. And you can attach to them, or you can just sit in stillness, right? And just observe. Try that and do that for 5 minutes and watch how amazing you feel. Watch your body start to release the tension of the day, the anxiety of achievement, the anxiety of approval and validation, which is an obsession for humanity, right? The other thing I think is, no, there's 2 more points I wrote down. While we're talking about emotions, don't let them grab you. But yet, do me a favor, okay? I learned this and it worked. Express your emotions. I had a bad habit, a very bad habit that was self-destructive. I would hold in my truth. I wanted to say something and speak up for myself, but I had such repercussions as a child for telling my truth that was shunned, found stupid, worthless, whatever. I stopped. And I carried that through life. And then I would pent up my emotions, my frustrations, my anger when someone wronged me. Better to turn the other cheek is what people said. That's not what that means. Oh, no. I have to speak up for myself and say, no, this is my truth. Otherwise, I pent it up, and look at the rot that starts to create. People wonder why they get cancer, because they're not expressing, they're holding their anger in. I learned to let my anger out. People didn't like it, and I didn't like it, but I didn't know anything to do. Until I learned I don't have to hold it in any longer. And I stopped holding it in, and now I don't get angry because I'm not letting it build up. When someone is in the moment and it's something I agree with, I speak my truth now. Whether they agree or me or not is irrelevant. Before, I would want them to like me, so I was telling them what they wanted to hear at the expense of me. You ever do that to yourself? How much pain are you in because you won't be your truth? You're pushing down your own emotions. Please let them out. Okay? But you're not going to look to control them. You're going to look to transcend them. Because the more you become the stillness and observer, then you see the value of the emotion is a reactive value of the human. The responsive value is allowance, observation, which leads to wonderfully critical thinking about the alignment of your truth, and then, of course, expression of that, instead of the shit that we talk about. Okay? Don't let your emotions out. Don't let your emotions out. It's bad to be stoic, be this, be that, they told you. Bullshit. I call bullshit. Don't hold yourself. Don't push yourself. Because now you're carrying and you're exhausted and you need a pick-me-up. So you drink another coffee and another Red Bull or another 5-hour energy. And you put all this shit into your body. And you have access to the endless energy of creation every single day. The endless energy. And this body never tires, except for what this says it does. This right here. And sometimes the body is ready to sleep. Doesn't mean you did anything bad or good. It's just time to sleep. And sometimes people can go 48, 72 hours and they look like they've never slept better in their life. They look wide awake and springy and joy because they're pulling energy from a different part of themselves, this collective above you. Okay, so let's learn that. Let's learn that about emotions. Okay? You're welcome. Sun writes, hell yeah, I can relate to the addictive way. I've always had a hard addictive personality, and it's very enlightening breaking through it. Absolutely. The personality gives structure. It gives validation of the self. You feel, this is the way I am. This is what they say. I'm this. I'm this. How many people have said, don't touch me. I have this. Don't do this. I have this. I have this. And there's a reason why they have to suffer, and they want you to validate it. And so what they're doing is soliciting you for sympathy, for validation. Don't do it, masters. Don't do it. That's why I never. That's why I will never do meth. I may like it. Yeah. Go ahead and not do meth. Yeah. That's funny, son. That's great. All right. Last thing I want to talk about is words themselves are created worlds. They hold vibration. And I'm using a lot of bad words in my vocabulary as of late. I was watching myself. It was a habit I didn't recognize. There were some structures that I needed to let go of. And I don't want you to use purposefully good words. I want you to learn yourself as an observer to find the word of evolution within you. Okay? Because look at the world. There's so many sharp tongues out there. There's so much criticism, so much bullying, so much judgment. All of these ideas. And that's the world that I create. There might be other worlds that I can never see because I'm creating my own reality. I see that and I have to change that within my kingdom so I no longer see those truths. But I can't change the world. I have to change my relationship. I have to look at the words I use. I have to change my vocabulary. So in your memory, you see people that use words that cut, including against you and including the words you use to hurt someone else, to offer them pain. And some of them accepted it and they felt that pain that you gave them. And that's not wrong. It's not right. It's creation happening. Relax. So I saw people cutting people with their words. And I was like, I was validating and accepting those as truths of humanity, and they are. So what happens when I start changing my vocabulary? Not right away, but eventually my mirror is going to change. And I will no longer have people in my life that use words that cut. I won't have a co-creative world that have words that cause pain. When you go into the world of humanity, you're going to get those. We have a very violent society. We have an absolute horrible society of violence. And I'm not talking about bad people. That's a given because of the structure of humanity creates those people through lack, through racial depression and cultural oppression, I think is the better word. And you create these societies according to structures, access to things like food, like good housing. And they create these worlds. So we've divided ourselves and we've created a very violent world, not just people that commit crimes, but the structures that we have. How many things do you have to do to get things done in order to get something? Look at the processes we have to do in life now. Look at the violence of that. You think violence itself is an act against another that causes pain. Filling out an application is violent. Going to the bank is violent. We're working with people with structures and laws. That vibration is an idea of separation. So you're not going to escape all of those harshness. We're not looking to escape. What we're looking to do is change our mirror through the light, what we have to offer. So in those moments of you see the violence of the world, you have to be the light of change. You have to be the nonviolence. I had an incident here at my apartment complex. We're moving this month, right? But we couldn't get out of our lease because they wanted 1 month's rent and then 85% of that. And I was like, wait a minute, that's 2 months and I'm leaving. And they go, well, that's just our policy. And I said, well, that's disgusting, isn't it? That is absolutely incredibly greedful. So, well, we want to discourage people from leaving early. And I said, oh, so you're an enslaver. See the violence? See, that's my interpretation. I'm wondering if that's painful and it's hurting me that I look at the world that way. Or should I just say, okay, that's your choice. I'm going to do whatever I do. See, there's where you have to learn yourself, isn't it? You're welcome, son. If I look at a person and I call them greedy, are they greedy? Yes, that's my truth. But that's not wrong. But do I want to carry a version of people in my truth that are greedy? So maybe I need to change my vocabulary and accept what it is, because I'm still moving 2 months early. I have to pay for this place for the next 2 months. That's fine. I won't be living in it. I'll be over there. And that's all it is. So I reacted is what I did, and I looked at their greed and their violence and their structures to oppress humans because they have power. And humans exert their power through law, because we're a land of laws here in America, and through the execution of law through what? Violence. So the world needs more love. And I'm not talking about tree huggers and people that are just, doing all this verbiage of enlightened and all happy and energy and all that. No, I'm talking about actual execution of authentic, unconditional love, not a structure, not another image. Everyone sees through the bullshit again. So let's look at that, okay? Sun writes, this has been a very beautiful Sunday convo, as it always is. Thank you. This is my first time catching it live. Awesome. Thank you. Always taking the time out of your Sundays. I can resonate with everything you are sharing. Thank you, Kim. So listen, guys, you got to look at the healer that is available to you, but it's not an instant heal. Whenever you feel pain, first thing you do is accept it. And then you look at it and it says, where's the source of this? Am I causing this with my vibration? Am I holding on to vibrational guilt, anger, anxiety, resentment? Am I holding on to fear and carrying those burden of fear, and that's hardening my arteries, making my muscles flex, causing stress, stiffness, soreness, to where fatigue is now taking my immune system and allowing more things to come in and give me more pain? Or is my awareness my guardian to say no? You're allowed to say no on this planet. So let's look at all those things, okay? And find the healer within, masters. Look at yourself. Look what you're gardening. Look what thoughts you're watering. Look what you're feeding your body. And don't criticize another for what they're doing. Accept them, offer them love, and move on in your reality. Whatever your now leads you to. Whatever the unknown brings your beautiful way, embrace it and embrace the change. Okay? All right, so the one other thing I wanted to mention is I'm moving this Thursday. So next Sunday, I'll be in my new place, and I'm not sure the internet that we're getting up to speed is going to be up to speed. So we're going to give it a shot for sure, but I don't know if the internet's going to be. We're getting some equipment in there to try to get it up to the speed it needs to be to carry these classes. Anyways, these lives. Whoop, whoop. Congratulations. Thank you. All right, guys. I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in to Odyssey of Ascension. You can give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you like us. And as Debbie has given us a $25 super chat, if you care to support in that way, you can always go to the website and go to the donate button. The link is below. I love you all, masters. Journey well. We'll see you next week. Okay? Bye. Good night, everyone. Love you all.